Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the videos of the paid request. This time from James, which funny enough, I have a couple James that requested stuff, different types of James. So this is a different James who requested 3 videos. 2 of them are wrestling related, and wanted me to check out wrestling from the last WrestleMania. One was The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth, which is this one, and then the next one is Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. Now, long story short, first off, thank you, James. I appreciate that. For anyone that wants to request any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, a review, a re-review, a video DM let's try, a full playthrough, pretty much any type of video, a topic, a tier list, PayPal is usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Links are down in the info box, wherever the info box is this week on YouTube. Now, wrestling, like I said before, I grew up with wrestling as a kid, watching videotapes of Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, then even tapes that my aunt would send that included people like Repo Man, Berserker trying to stab Undertaker with a sword. And then it kind of left it for a while until the late 90s where we had cable and I would watch WCW and WWF when they were competing back and forth. So about 2 or so years I would watch that. Then it would go away, and I would be fascinated with wrestling. I like watching documentaries. I think I have a decent amount of DVDs somewhere in the other room that deal with wrestlers and their stories. I'm always interested in listening to podcasts, hearing about the business. I listen to Jim Cornette a lot. I'm on other podcasts when I have time. But I don't watch much of the product. I know people have said the product has become much better now that Vince McMahon is gone. But again, I think what it is funny enough, unless I'm watching something retro, like, okay, if it was an older Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and that era of 70s, well, if that was that stuff, 80s. But if I'm watching older wrestling to like the 2000s or maybe 99, 2000, I'd be curious about like the older stuff. Just wrestling nowadays, for some reason, doesn't intrigue me. Like if it's people I grew up with, like Bret the Hitman Hart, or I remember Big Boss Man, or because of that nostalgia factor, it makes me more intrigued. But with the people today, I just don't have that fascination. Like I don't have that fascination with Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes is there. The Rock with his steroid up, pimple-headed body. I'm like, whatever. I'm kind of like a whatever phase with the wrestling of today, if that makes sense. I'm very open to watching videos and doing videos on it, absolutely. Please feel free. But it's just that I don't currently watch the product. WWE, AEW, all that jazz. And I'm watching this, which is, I believe it was now WrestleMania is 2 nights. So the first night, the bid is Rock and Roman, who are cousins, versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. So I'm watching it, and the first 16 minutes is the opening. People getting their ass out and masturbatory, parading themselves and sniffing their own farts. Look how great I am. For 16 minutes. Because the whole thing was like an hour. And then they size each other up, and Roman Reigns and Seth lock up at 23 minutes in. Finally, 23 minutes in, we get some action. And stuff that happens is Seth kicks Roman, tags Cody in. They're almost tag teaming him, but Roman stops it. Bit of Rock versus Seth. Clothesline Seth, The Rock does. Cody gets in. I don't mind the move where he drops down and does a punch up to The Rock. Which I know someone else did that before. I can't remember who though. Seth and Cody double team on The Rock. They go outside to the ring. One thing I know is about The Rock, he moves like Batista nowadays. And that's what I knows in his match. He kept moving like Batista. Especially he does his like clothesline to Seth Rollins. That's like how Batista does a clothesline. And that's because The Rock is so roided up. It's like so muscle upon muscle. He could barely move like he did back in the day. I much prefer. I mean, I don't hate Dwayne Johnson, but his movies have become old hat lately. His gimmick is a bit tiresome, and he does have charisma. I'll give you that, but I much prefer his wrestling back in the day when he wasn't as roided up. Because he could move a bit more brisk. He could move a bit more fluid. Here it's like he could barely move, so he does like, but he moves like Batista. Which, Batista was what Batista was, but maybe don't have that many damn muscles, Rock. You don't need that many. Maybe stop going to your first time in and outs, which apparently you've had like 3 first times. This is the first time I've had an in and out burger. This is the first time. Well, that's funny because you posted that 3 times in 3 years. 3 different years. This is the first time you went to an in and out. Which was the first time? Was it the first one? The second was the first one? Was the third one the first one? Maybe stop pissing in Voss water bottles and didn't like the sets and not worry about, having another 8-pack upon your 8-pack with your roided up ass. Just The Rock, just stop, man. I did like the bit when he said, "You count me out, you're fired," to the ref. Although I'm thinking, so if he could fire him, couldn't he fire him in the second night too? You count 1, 2, 3, you're fired. If he could threaten that I could fire you if you count me out, couldn't you fire him if you count 1, 2, 3 and let Cody win in the second night? But granted, The Rock was knocked out for a bit. But I'm surprised they didn't try to do that at one point in the second night to follow up that story of, well, he's one of the CEOs and higher up, so he could maybe have this authority. And that could be something working up against Cody Rhodes in the second night. But they didn't really delve into that. The Rock working Seth's leg. Both Roman and Rock working Seth. Rock punching Cody, but Cody tits Rock. Rock gives a sharpshooter. Actually, I'm trying to think if that was him or Seth. Maybe it was Seth. Rock was punching Seth, and Seth tits Rock. Then Rock gives a sharpshooter. Cody slaps the Rock. A few of these cutters that he does, I'm not sure if I like Cody Rhodes' cutter, where he bounces off the rope. When he connects, it looks good. But there were a couple times in his match, he would go on the rope and he would, miss. So, he misses, and so, here's the head, but he's, over here, and he catches, like this. Yeah. It just doesn't look the best. When he missed, a couple times, that damn cutter. He did a bit better on the second night. But yeah, that first night he missed a couple of these. Damn, jumping off the rope cutters. I did like the bit where he jumps over Roman's spear and tries to roll him up. Granted, it wasn't as fluid because Roman didn't want to go backward as quickly as he should have. So Cody does a nice leap, getting out of the spear, and he's trying to roll him up, but then Roman's like, "Oh, I don't want to fall yet. Okay, I'll fall." Which, if that would have done a bit quicker, maybe that would have been more of an awesome moment. Yes, a tag teaming. Seth and Cody both kick Roman. They both do finishing moves to Roman. But then The Rock pulls Cody off. I did like Cody Rhodes giving a bit of honor to his dad. He does the punches and the bionic elbow like his dad did. I did like that. Roman spears Rock accidentally. But then Seth does this move that looked like hurt himself more than Roman. Rock hits Cody with his belt. Roman spears. Rock gives a people's elbow. Which he tried to do that once before, and then Cody tried to do one of those bounce off the rope cutters, but he missed. He didn't quite get it all, so it didn't look that good. So The Rock does the people's elbow, finishes Cody 1, 2, 3. So of course The Rock had to have a win. There's the whole thing before of it was supposed to be The Rock versus Roman, and people go, what the hell, what about Cody Rhodes? Because people like Cody Rhodes. What happened to finishing his story? What's going on here? What's happening? So it was a bit of a buzz. People hating on The Rock, so they changed things up. I'm sure The Rock wasn't happy about that. Unless this was all planned from the beginning, which that'd be ingenious to do. This has definitely got some buzz, but I just don't know if they're that smart. I don't know, I mean, the match itself... The Rock, it was weird to see him move like Batista and see him so roided up like that, so it makes you move less fluid, much more careful so he doesn't hurt himself. Cody and Roman, really, their best moments you saw the next night as well, which I thought was the better match until they went all the gimmicks, which I'll get to, which I didn't really care for. I know I'm alone in that. I would say Seth was the MVP of this match. Seth, with some of the moves he would do and the hits that he would take and the selling. He sold a lot in the match. And some of the high-flying moves he would do. I would say he looked the best. Roman didn't have a whole lot to do, just saving him up for the next night. I guess some would say it was The Rock, though. The Rock had the most to do here. But again, it's like, move-wise, I don't really remember a whole lot of moves other than, okay, he whips with a belt, or he does the people's elbow at the end. I mean, there is like a powerbomb he did, or a spine buster, which was decent. And he did the sharpshooter. Which I don't remember him doing the sharpshooter a lot. Maybe I just haven't watched his matches in a long time. I don't remember much of him doing the sharpshooter type of stuff. I mean, for his age, The Rock did pretty capable. Compared to like Hulk Hogan when he was that age. Or even Steve Austin, which I know that's not fair to say because he had his broken neck. But I'm just saying, with his age, and like a lot of other people, for his age, The Rock did well for what someone that age could do. To be fair, to be absolutely fair on that, he did as well as he could. I may be making fun of him for moving a bit like Batista, but again, he didn't seem like he gassed out too much, at least compared to others. Like Batista, he would... Again, you look at some of Batista's later matches, which I've flipped through. That's a whole world of... so maybe... I know it's... when I say he moved like Batista, I mean like some of the little... Before he would almost pass out of... run out of air, breathing so hard that the whole crowd, or at least the first 2 rows, have oxygen deprivation for how much the guy's puffing. The Rock didn't do a whole lot of that, so to be fair, for his age, The Rock did as well as he could. So the give credit where credit's due. The ending was predictable, even if I did not know anything about the match. It was predictable that, yeah, you'd have to have Cody win, or people don't be even more pissed to the point of, lose some viewers. And if he's going to win, then you gotta give the heel something. In this case, The Rock. Yeah, give him a bit of something. Now, whether that's going to pertain to Cody and The Rock going at each other in a much later date, I don't know. But I mean, I know that's typical. I just when I think of like entrances, I think of like Back to the Day, where I don't remember it being like 23 minutes for the match to finally get started. The moves themselves, like Roman Reigns, his move says like, okay, the Superman punch, nothing remarkable that I could think of. The spear, okay. I thought Edge and especially Goldberg did better spears, but it's acceptable spear. Seth, like Cody, his moves, again, him missing the cutters a few times. I do like the snap, slant, like, what do you call it? He grabs someone and slams him really quickly, like, that quick scoop slam. I did like that. Him going on the ground and punching, I did like that. Of course, the thing is, though, you saw a lot of that in the next night, so it felt like just kind of reheated leftovers. So you've seen the similar stuff they did the previous night here. Oh, I thought it was a bit better paced because it's 2 people instead of 4 that you're working with. So, I mean, it was a watchable match. It's nothing I'm going to run home about. I know people praised it to Kingdom Come. It was acceptable. It was watchable. Again, the ending was predictable. I thought it took a bit too long to get started. I don't know. The crowd didn't seem as into it as I thought it would. Maybe I just was not listening correctly. But at least when I was, it seemed like the crowd should have been in it more than they were. Okay, maybe that's just me. But as is, it was acceptable. It was watchable. And I've seen much worse. But is it Austin and Bret Hart? Hell, people make fun of Ultimate Warrior. Understandably so. Don't get me wrong. But him versus Macho Man Randy Savage, I would put above this. Bret Hart versus, not just WrestleMania, but like Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect, or all 3 Steve Austin versus The Rock. I mean, I would put above this. So, it is what it is. It was watchable. It was okay. But stay tuned next time. I'll talk about the other match. See you in a bit.